Oh, sorry, I mean, will you share your screen?
Yes, Tolly, I will share my screen. Thank you for literally as I pressed unmute so everyone can hear that. Welcome everyone. Yeah. We're back. Second week of our new going back to weekly episodes. But this year we are live, as you can tell. And I've got Tolly with me this evening, last year's champion. How are you doing, Tolly?
Yeah, very good. Very happy to have won the league last year. So looking forward to chatting with you tonight, Luke.
Good. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you did really well last year from where you were in league at Christmas time to win. So fair play. Well deserved.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I was definitely a bit off the pace to begin with, but I made up the ground in the end. So very happy.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm a bit echoey, but I don't know how it sounds to you, Luke.
It's fine to me. Hang on, let me just.
Good to see Charlotte Farthing has joined us as well.
I don't know what's up with. It should be fine. So.
Okay, fine.
Must be Tom. Yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say is we'll focus on this this year now it started. How do you think the draft went for you?
It was. I was drafting 11 out of 12, which I think is probably one of the worst spots. I don't think it went particularly well. I was sort of happy with a couple of them, but the rest of them, take it or leave it, to be honest. I wasn't particularly happy with it. There was a few where I could have picked up better players at the time when I didn't, and I probably went a bit early on the strikers. I'll unplug my headphones in case it sounds better through my laptop, so give me a sec.
Yeah, it might be my mic picking you up and then feeding, as in out of my headphones back into the mic, but I don't know.
Yeah, fine. We'll roll with this. Yeah, there was a few I didn't get. Could have picked up a better pair probably, and also I went early on the strikers. I thought the strikers would go quickly again, and then I thought a few quite good ones lasted quite a while. Like I know Mitrovic and Brennan Johnson and stuff picked up quite late on, so I feel like I probably could have held out and picked up a better midfielder. But no, well, it's a base to build from. You know, I always use the agency quite a lot, and I like to trade, so it's a base to build from, and I'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, fair enough. There we go. Adam, I will turn the music down. Sorry, that's my bad. Still getting used to doing this live, so you have to bear with.
How did you think you drafted, Luke?
On the day, I felt okay, but I think since then, I'm a bit like, I could have done better. But a lot of the players I wanted to get always went like 1 or 2 rounds, like picks before me. So it was kind of like that happened, I'm sure, like 3 or 4 times. So yeah.
That's why I feel like 12th is better than 11th, because 12th you can just pick back to back.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about who's going to get picked up. Whereas, so even though you're one later, I think it's a better position. Similarly with first, obviously, and second are some of the best because you get the cheap players and then you get quick back to back draws as well. So it's pretty savage if you're between like 7 and 11, I would say.
Yeah. But that's how it goes, isn't it? It's the fairest way, and unless it keeps putting Will in like 3rd or whatever he is, like top 3. I reckon he must pay Jim, so Jim fixes his position and then randomises it for the rest of us. Taking money out of the kitty, maybe. Anyway, let's have a quick review of the league and see how it's going, shall we? So, some strong scores this week. We've got 2 61s, one from Adam and George. Some good scores there. 57 from Tom.
The first game week was a pre-season friendly because we both had really good scores this week after having really bad scores last week. So, yeah, George and Adam did well. I thought Adam would pick up more points, but with the Liverpool game, But yeah, Tim and George have done well to be top, and then some pretty crap scores at the bottom. Not mentioning any names, Jack, Ben, Phil.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Apparently you're very quiet compared to me, so let's just turn you up. And I can turn myself down a little bit. There we go. Sorry, what did you say? Got distracted then.
Just commenting on the low scores at the bottom. Pretty good scores for Adam and George. Tom's already counting how many game weeks he's been top because he knows he won't get a medal, so he wants to be able to have some sort of consolation prize, but it doesn't matter at the end. There's only one game week that counts.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a long way to go, and in our private chat there's been a few mentions of what the average score per week's going to be to win. What's your thinking this year? Do you think it's like 45 is about right, or do you think it's going to be higher or lower than that?
I think that sounds about right. Yeah. So if you're hitting average 23.5, Will, that's not a fantastic turnaround. The other thing, what I would say though, is that Will is in a really good position if there's any good free agents. There's not be any good ones this week necessarily, and I think next week I guess will be the last week. I'm trying to work out what deadline day is, but Tom is in a terrible position for free agents. So if he picks up injury or anything like that, I think it's good being top early, but for like morale. But I think actually strategically, it's quite good to be towards the bottom for the first few weeks. Similarly in January, if you're still within touching distance but can get some good free waivers in from new transfers, it's a really good position. So we'll see.
Yeah, I always struggle with waivers, but I've got quite a few lined up this week to get rid of some injured players, I think.
That's fair enough. I've got a review segment of everyone's team, so we'll get to look at everyone's players and everyone's injuries. So that was definitely something I was going to mention on yours, League.
Perfect. I can't wait. I'm wondering what else we can cover on the league table. I don't think there's much else. I mean, you've done well this week, to be fair, with 50. It's a good score.
Thank you very much. I picked up. What happened on the waivers? It was a bit crazy from where I was at, because every time I was about to draft someone, like as I was on the line, like online, someone draft that player before me. So I went on because I saw Matip was injured and was literally searching Gomez's name, and he was free. And then I went away and just Googled Matip again to see how injured he was. Came back and drafted him. And then I was like, okay, I might bring in Johnny from Wolves. Went away and just Googled their fixtures and stuff. He was available. They Googled their fixtures, just have a look, and then came back and Georgia drafted him. So I was like, bloody hell, like everyone I want to bring in is getting picked up as I'm looking. So then I picked up Veltman, who actually did quite well. He got like 8 points, so I was happy with that. And I picked up a Rebo, who scored off the bench. So yeah, they kind of brought in some good points I wasn't expecting. So yeah, happy with 50, definitely.
Yeah. Who else we got? Lawrence is in the 40s. Yeah, and it's not great after that, is it, pretty much?
No, not a big doing.
So, well, like you mentioned, you're going to do a review of everyone's teams. So, shall we move on to that? Everyone wants to talk about Morris's 20, but we're going to get to it in your segment, I guess. So, right, let me share my screen for you so you can see.
Oh, well, I can do a top 3 at the end, maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Can you see that now?
On the YouTube?
No, on Discord. Yeah, if you go on Discord, I'll be sharing my screen for you on there.
Will everyone else be able to see what we're looking at?
They will be able to, yeah, because I'll switch scene in a second to my desktop as well. So everybody's looking at my desktop.
Put YouTube up on mute, so if you just whack it on YouTube, that'll be fine.
All right, okay. All right then, let's bring it up.
Here we go. Yeah, let's go. So it's not very inventive. I did this in between the hour or two I had between work and doing this. So it is everyone's team as if they were ranked on FIFA. So as we know on FIFA, this will be entertaining, Jack. I hope maybe not as entertaining as that, but this is like everyone's team: defense, midfield, attack, rated out of 5 stars. So on FIFA, it will give you like a rating out for your defense, midfield, and attack. So I've done that for everyone's team, going from bottom to top. So we'll go for Will first.
Okay. Right. Shall I move
and it's
on?
An animation. So if you click through, hopefully that will work.
Okay.
Let's go.
Here we go. Oh. So starting with Will.
Yes. Yes, here we go. Cool. So if you click once, it should bring up a defense score out of 5.
There we go.
And this will cover both the D-line and the goalkeeper. So I've given him a 2-star, mainly because he's got Edison, because the rest of the defense, as you can see in the scores, is horrendous. So Maguire, poor. Fofana might be interesting if he goes to Chelsea. Digne, -1. Ben White doesn't like football. And then Guehi on the bench. Actually, that's okay, but he hasn't got a good backup keeper in the sense that, I mean, not that you'd want to drop Edison, but I prefer having 2 actual keepers because you never know what's going to happen. So 2-star, pretty much because he's got Edison. The rest, I think, are pretty average.
Yeah, it's not great when you've got -3 from your defenders, is it?
No, exactly. Thanks, Luke. That speaks for itself. And then midfield, you pick now.
Yeah.
I can't remember what scores I put, so I'm going to have to see what I put and justify it.
Yeah, it's 3 stars, yeah.
Mainly because there are some good potential there. I think Mason Mount is solid. Harvey Barnes, when he's fit, will be solid. He's also got some players who blow very hot and cold. Coutinho, Ericsson, Bruno. I mean, Ericsson at United, I think he was better at Brentford. But Coutinho, Ericsson, Bruno, they could get 15-point weeks, but most of it will be 2 points, I imagine, or 0 points apparently for Coutinho. And then if you click once more, and also Bruno's playing deeper than he did last season, I think. So I've gone for 3. So pretty good, but I think there'll be inconsistency from a lot of players there. And then for the forward line, 3-star, pretty much because it's Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is like a 5-star striker, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got Alvarez, who will get 1 point probably every week. Every now and again, he might get an assist or a goal, so it'll be 3 or 4 points. And Jimenez is injured. So I've given him 3-star based on he's got 1 striker who's injured, 1 striker who won't play, and then 3 stars like Harry Kane is being brought down because he would be a 5-star.
Yeah.
I've gone 3-star.
All right, I can see that. I can see the understanding. You can't have 5 stars if you've only got 1 high striker, I guess.
Exactly, Luke. Thank you. Very well put. Better than I put it. so, and then if you click once more, it will give a total stars out of 15 because you could have 15.
All right, 8 out of 15. Have you got a table at the end showing what everyone's overall scores are? Oh no.
We'll have to memorize what they got. But 8 isn't the lowest. I remember that. So if you go, and I've given everyone a name. So we've got heading south Northgate because he's heading south down the league. In fact, he can't head any further south because he is bottom. So,
Next. This is Ben, I believe.
Yes, Luke Armstrong Dyson. So he's called himself Stone Cold, but he's very tepid at the moment. So if you click once, it will show you the defense score 2.5 because he's got some interesting players there who I think could be good. Well, Thiago Silva should be if he's consistently in the team. Trippier does take set pieces, and Tierney is decent. He's also got Tete, who actually got 6 points, but I would not be having a Fulham defender in my team. Perisic, who I think will be in and out, as he has been so far.
Yeah.
And the keeper situation is, fairly average. So on account of the fact he's got some decent players, but I'm not entirely convinced by all of them, I've gone 2.5.
Fair enough.
3-star on the midfield, mainly because he's got Son and Saint-Maximin. I think Rashford is, he's got potential, but he hasn't lived up to it at all in the first 2 game weeks. I'm not sure about Rocker, and Garnacho is a classic United fan, bringing in a player optimistically who isn't going to perform. So it's mainly because it's Son. Similarly to how Harry Kane brought up Will's throw. I've gone Son, bringing up this midfield score.
Fair enough. And then strikers. Ooh, 1.5.
Yeah. Firmino won't play, I don't think. Well, he'll play when Nunes is suspended. But he's injured at the moment anyway. Mupé was terrible last season. Might be going to Nottingham Forest apparently to be their like 6th striker of the season. And Havertz is a gamble. I think he could be quite good, but I could see Havertz also, you know, not necessarily fitting into a front three because they have so many wingers. They've got Sterling. I don't know if he's actually going to. So Havertz could actually end up being really good, but not entirely convinced. So he's relying on Havertz, who isn't a solid striker, which is why it's 1.5. I wouldn't want to be relying entirely on someone who I don't know. So that's why it's 1.5.
Okay, who's next?
And what was that?
Total 7. 7 out of 15.
Lower than Will's.
Right, we've got Jack next then.
Yeah, Rocket Santa Fight Night. In honour of Darwin getting sent off today. I've gone 3-star defence. I think there's some really good players there. Mendy solid, Koulibaly solid, Romero solid. I'm not sure about Wolves' defence necessarily, and Semedo is an interesting one because I don't know who starts for them, like him or Johnny necessarily. Hickey is also someone who's probably going to play. I think Brentford look pretty good. The reason it's not higher is he's not got like your Reece Jameses, your Trents, your Robertsons who are going to get loads of assists. I think, although Koulibaly could get a pretty sweet goal, I think he's not got any of those classic like defenders who get lots of assists or take set pieces. But I think Mendy's pretty good. He also similarly only has 2 Chelsea keepers, which I think is fine. But I like having 2 actual keepers rather than one who's gets 0 points.
We've got I think Jim saying give that a 4, and Will saying it's a 2.5.
I'm pretty. Yeah, thank you. So on average, I'm right. Midfield,
3 stars as well.
There's an interesting mix of players there. Luis Diaz, I think, is going to be really good. He would be, higher than 3 stars. Bernardo, I think, will be a 1-pointer probably. He's a weird one. He sometimes plays really well, but sometimes he just come on. I think he's come off the bench both games this season. Aronson and Leeds, generally, I think Leeds just blow hot and cold. Cornet could be good, but I don't necessarily see how he's starting in the West Ham team unless he goes left wing back or I don't know. And Tielemans, he'll sometimes get a goal, but I don't know. I think so. I think it's 3-star. I think is pretty good, but there's no real cheap players apart from Luis Diaz is pretty good. And then
3 stars again for strikers. This is going to cause some issues, I think, in the chat.
Mainly because of similar argument to Will. Darwin, I think, even though he's suspended for 3 games now, will be a really good striker. Johnson will be playing and probably scoring. Nketiah, I don't know. He came and hasn't started either game this season. Towards the end of last season he was scoring for fun, but now he probably can't get in the team. So I've gone 3 because Darwin's good, Johnson's alright, and Nketiah, I don't know, 50-50 because when he does play he's good, but then he doesn't actually play. So yeah, 9. Which I think is higher than Will. So we've had 7, 8, 9 so far. Yeah.
There's a lot of calls for making it a 2-star on the striker front, but it's your segment. When you're on, guys, you can do what you like, can't you? So right then, who have we got here? Is this Max, I believe?
Yeah, Bowen not much else. So let's have a look. What have I gone for on defence? 2.5. I was just thinking 2.5 as I was before I even seen it. I was like, that's 2.5. He's got a couple of okay players. Dyer, Ake, if he plays. If Ake doesn't play, you'd expect Stones to start. So okay, that's fine. Fabianski tends to get quite a few points as a goalkeeper. So okay, but I would not be having a Leeds defender. 0 points is classic Leeds return.
Yeah,
Chalobah will be in and out, and Chelsea seem to be linked with about 8 centre backs at the moment. And again, he's got 2 of the same team goalkeeper. I would want another keeper as well as a West Ham one because West Ham won't be getting lots of clean sheets necessarily. But
Fabianski can get you save points, to be fair.
Yeah. Fabianski is pretty good. He's usually one of the top scoring goalkeepers, which is why I said he's pretty good. But I would want another option as well. What have I gone for in midfield?
3 stars for midfield.
Yeah, mainly because Bowen is solid. He was really good last season. So it was 3 stars based on the fact Bowen's good. 3 stars also based on the fact Mahrez is good. So I had Mahrez about 2 or 3 seasons ago. And he was in the top 5 midfielders, even though he probably started half the games. Because when he did play, he was getting goals and assists for fun because it's City. So I think he'll probably get some return. Joel Linton, interesting one. He plays midfield now, so average. McGinn, he does take set pieces and he does tend to get some stuff. Smith Rowe was like really good like 2 seasons ago. So I've gone 3-star on the fact that Bowen and Mahrez are pretty good, and the rest they're probably above 3-star, and the rest are kind of bringing it down a bit again. So
yeah, I think I can see the logic behind it. There's a lot of people saying it's worse than that, but Tom's saying based on previous seasons, what is this? But I'm pretty sure your algorithm is based on previous game weeks. So
yeah, and I don't know what else to base it on.
Yeah, seasons. What else? You got to go off some sort of past performance, haven't you? Anyway, strikers.
I think I've gone 3-star here.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Not on Kiefer Moore, but mainly on Ings and Vardy. So 2 really good strikers. I think Ings will start all season, and he does look pretty deadly in the last game at least. So 1 of 2 games, I think he'll keep starting and he'll score. More importantly, he's got Vardy, who has been very consistent. Everyone says that this will be the season he's off, but every season when he's fit, he scores a lot of goals. Kiefer Moore, it's not great, but he did score against Villa. So, but I've gone 3-star on the basis Vardy and Ings are pretty good.
Yeah,
they're pretty solid. So, and he doesn't have to play them. I think if he did some agency work, he could have a better defender rather than Christensen, and probably a better defender or trade one of the other players subs out, and he could have more on the bench and a more solid player elsewhere. But I think Vardy and Ings, I'd be pretty happy with if I had those 2 as my starting strikers.
Oh, this could rile Will up 8.5 of 15. Yeah. Oh, Tom saying best strikes force so far. Close, isn't it? I think. Is Kane going to be better than Vardy and Ings in the overall?
He's going to be class, but you also then got, who's his other striker? Jimenez is injured and not going to play. So let's have a look at the next one.
Me.
Oh, it's you.
It's me.
Expected to lose probably above Ben.
Yeah.
Defense, I've gone 3-star. Been quite nice, mainly because I think you've got, unlike the other people, I think you've got 2 really solid keepers who will get you points. I know they don't play for the top teams, but Martinez was one of the top keepers last season. Brentford looked good, so you've got 2 good options in goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You've got decent. Well, I think Davies will play. You're struggling now with injuries, so
yeah. Well, Matip, I think it's
based on the assumption that Matip won't be out for ages. I don't know what Laporte's injury is, but if Matip is not out, he was quality last season. I think he's like a 4-star defender, but he's just not fit. Laporte, similarly, you're risking, not having anyone. Diego Carlos and Walker Peters, I think, are not great, but I'm going to
I've got Diego Carlos is going because he's out for months now.
Yeah.
I like Walker Peters because he does score like he has this week and get the odd assist. So I like having him there for that.
I think he's really good, and it looks like he'll be above Lenglet to play for Spurs. I think that's decent. I think Matip and Laporte are good options, but they're just not fit. So I think you'd need a better couple of the defenders. But
yeah, I don't know what to do with Matip and Laporte because in theory I should be able to trade them because they have some sort of value. But does anyone want to take on these injuries? And I feel like that opens up people wanting to take other players, which maybe I'm not so interested in doing.
Yeah, I would.
But I'm not sure I can sit with what would be 4 flags if I only get rid of Diego Carlos.
Yeah, I think everyone would be interested in Matip by the look of it. I would probably try and get rid of one. You definitely have to get rid of Diego Carlos. He's out for ages.
Yeah.
Laporte, I would potentially try and trade out. Maybe I haven't looked at his injury, but if he's not out for that long, he does tend to be.
Yeah, they're all 3 of those should be back by September, but it's just can I wait that long? It's only a few weeks, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, midfield. Let's have a look.
Midfield, yeah. Oh, 3.5. I'll take that.
I forgot what I gave you. 3.5.
Yeah.
Fair play. I think that's Mainly because of Maddison and Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse is just a solid baller. He'll get lots of points. Maddison as well.
Yeah.
I think he was injured a bit last season, but then he came back and started scoring again. I think he's got an assist and a goal in his first 2 games. Ward-Prowse will just get you assists for fun and probably quite a few goals from
set pieces. Yeah.
Set pieces. Yeah. Gross. He had an off season last season, but he looked really good against United. He seems to be playing further forward again. I think he could be decent. So I'd say he's average. Rodri, take it or leave it. He's not going to get loads. No. And Benrahma, he did start last game, so I've gone 3.5.
He looked good actually. He had a goal disallowed. I was watching the game. He was getting involved, but yeah, I don't know.
So I think Maddison, Ward-Prowse, Gross. Well, Maddison, Ward-Prowse are really good. Gross and Benrahma are decent, and Rodri, take it or leave it. So that's why I've gone 3.5.
Fair enough. Right, strikers. Oh, I'll take this as well. 3.5 again. The chat is going to explode now.
I was also being very nice. I don't even know why I've done that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you've done that either.
I probably would give it a 2-star. I must have.
I think when Jota's back in, maybe. But even then.
Yeah.
Will's screaming, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would give that a 2. Good host, that would be nice too. I think that must be my reasoning.
Fair enough. Well, 10 stars. I'm highest so far. Woo. That's so funny. Oh, I'm enjoying this. It's fun. I love Will. I feel like Will probably will have the most amount of messages in the chat at the end of this. Everything is. He's reacting to everything. Yeah.
Mind that Keane is a 3, but in fairness, with these 3 strikers, they all have a decent chance of starting every game week if they're fit.
Yeah.
Whereas even if all 3 of Will's are fit, only one is going to start. Cool. Let's move on.
All right, here we go. Rich.
Oh yeah, Salah Salah because it used to be Bruno Fernandes, but now it's just a Salah team. I've gone 3.5 because Alisson is a sick goalkeeper. I don't know why he has Leno, because I'm not even sure he starts for Fulham at the moment. Zinchenko, I think, will be a really good draft. I was really keen to get him because he probably will start playing in midfield. And even if not, he's already bagged an assist on his first game. Dan Burn is a legend, so I had to kind of give him credit for drafting Dan Burn. I think he drafted Dan Burn really early as well, given it's Dan Burn. So I gave him credit for that. Duncan Martinez. Well, Martinez, get rid. Dunk, fine. He's average. So I've gone 3.5 because Alisson and Zinchenko are good. Dunk is average. Dan Burn's a legend, and Martinez is crap. I think you'll probably get rid of Martinez. 3.5, mainly because Salah would be 5, and then Odegaard is decent. The other 3, and I don't see them getting consistently high number of points. So Salah is probably a 5-star. Well, he's a 5-star player. Odegaard's probably a 4-star player, especially now he's captain. I'm front line, so I could see them getting some good assists. And then Neves, average. Willock, average. Elanga, poor. So I've gone 3.5.
Yeah. And we've got 3 stars up front.
Oh, sorry. 3.5 on defence. He has Matty Cash, and Matty Cash was a quality player last season. I should have said that for Jack's benefit. 3 stars. I think that was probably on the basis that Ronaldo stays. If he doesn't, he's in trouble. And I was reading today that he might not.
Yeah.
Similarly, Iheanacho, he was really good like 2 seasons ago or last season. Well, no, was it 2 seasons ago when I had him for the run-in? Yeah, it was, because that's when Jack got Chris Wood and I brought Iheanacho and he was phenomenal. So maybe he'll come good. Eduard, I didn't know if he started the other day. I don't know if he's been starting. Given he got 0 points, I assume not. But mainly on the basis he's got Ronaldo and giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's a United fan. I didn't want to be too mean. Otherwise, he could give it a 1 star.
Yeah, I think you're right. It depends on whether he stays on that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah.
That must be, horrible part of that team at the moment. Go through that. All the back of house staff must be. Oof. Anyway, who we got next? We got Lawrence Bear.
Yeah, looking Bear up front. We'll get to that. So what have I got for defence?
Oh, sorry. 3 stars in defence.
Yeah, probably similar to other people. He's got Pope, who is certified goalkeeping goat on FPL for the last few seasons, as he got 10 points last game week.
Yeah.
The other players, and he's got Chilwell and Doherty, who have a lot of upside, but they also might not play because they might be kept out because both Spurs and Chelsea have loads of other defenders. The other three, I would say, are pretty average. Well, Shaw's not, I wouldn't say very good, and he might even be dropped, I think, for future games. Collins and Cody, very average, but Pope's good. Chilwell and Doherty could be like 4-star, 5-star players if they played, which I don't know they will. So I've gone 3-star.
Fair enough.
Midfield, I've gone 4-star, which I think is the highest so far.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got Sterling. Gundogan, I think, is a good one. He's kind of been hot and cold every season, but when he is playing and starting, he often scores. I think previously Pep said he could be a player who plays up front. Fernandes has upside if he can bring him back the form he had 2 seasons ago when he first signed. Elise is pretty good, I think. I think he's been injured and he's coming back, and he looked really good at the end of last season when he was fit. So I think that's decent. And Gordon, he might be going to Chelsea. Who knows? But he's also someone who plays forward. So I've given him 4-star on the basis Sterling and Fernandes could score heavy. Look player. Gordon and Elise will probably chip in as well.
Oh, 2.5 for strikers, yeah.
Yeah, 2.5. Looking pretty fair up front, I said, because Callum Wilson is a good player, but he's like his only striker. Brozier, if he stays at Chelsea, is not going to be getting much game time, I don't imagine. Similar issue to Havertz. Mateta, I would take it or leave it. Mainly leave it. So 2.5 star because he's got Callum Wilson, who's pretty decent, but the other 2 options are pretty terrible. And as you can see from this week, he doesn't have the depth to not have 3 good strikers because he's got Brozier in starting or subbed in. I don't know if he started him.
I think he's not going to be subbed in, yeah.
Yeah. I would want another striker who's actually going to play and score. Or you transfer out, or you trade Chilwell and Doherty to someone because then I see them not starting quite a lot of games.
9.5 total. Not bad so far.
The highest so far.
Well, we're not counting my 10.
Yeah, one of the highest.
One of the highest, yeah. Right, who we got next? Yourself.
Let's go. Will
this
it be
could
15
be interesting.
stars?
Yeah.
Exactly right, so I couldn't be too mean to you because you did beat me. The Mighty Boos. So what have I given myself? 4-star in defence. The Pickford Guerrero situation isn't the best, but I've got 2 keepers who will play and options. Cancelo, I think he's got 11 and 9 points in his first 2 games. He's just going to be a certified goldmine.
Yeah.
Robertson hasn't even hit the heights yet. The others are all like fullbacks who take set pieces usually. Oh, not Veltman, but Cresswell and Cucurella. And I was pretty buzzing that Cucurella moved to Chelsea. If he can keep a place, I think I've got 3 between Cucurella, Robertson, and Cancelo. I should have 3 starting defenders from 3 really good teams. I'm hopeful Cresswell will stay on corners, or he used to take corners.
Yeah,
he was pretty young assists. Veltman, he's my kind of. I like having someone in each position who I can free agent. So Veltman's that player for me right now.
Yeah.
2.5 midfield definitely is my weakest area. I think I've given myself a half extra because I think there's a bit of upside. Aribo seems to play up front for Saints when he does play.
Yeah.
And he scored off the bench. Guedes, I read was a striker, so I was pretty surprised when he was a midfielder. But given they spent quite a lot of money on him, if they can play him up front, I assume we'll play up front instead of Hwang. I'm optimistic. Trossard, he's been playing wing back, but when I've seen the highlights, he does get forward a lot. I think he's had a few shots in the last couple of games. I think he'll be consistently average all season. Sinisterra, if he can be anything like who's the one they got rid of? Rafinha, even half the player, I'll be buzzing. But he seemed to be that player that they were signing to replace him. And Wissa, 3 stars up front because Tony is clearly a baller. Antonio should keep playing, hopefully. And Richarlison, he changed the game when he came off the bench for Spurs yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. So I'm quite optimistic. He might be someone who gets a bit more game time than people think he will.
Yeah.
So I think Tony and Antonio, I'm happy to start them all season. And if Richarlison looks like he starts going to play, I'm very happy to bring him in because hopefully Spurs will keep scoring. So 3-star.
All right. And then it gives you 9.5 in total. All right. Nobody's run away with the overall score yet. Right. And George. 3-star for defence.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I can't argue with Sarr getting 11 points, but I feel like a lot of his defenders are very average. Like, 8 Nori, I think, is actually quite an interesting one. Tomiyasu looks like he's never going to get back in the team at this rate. Kufal is an average player who doesn't seem to get loads of assists. Same with Justin and Johnny as well. Like, he's pretty much the same player as 8 Nori, and it might be dropped when Semedo's fit. So I've gone 3-star on the basis. It's like average. It's not terrible, and a lot of them are fullbacks. So in fact, they're all fullbacks. So that's a good sign. But on the basis, it's just like very middle of the road. It could be 2.5 given the fact it's middle of the road. But yeah, I've gone 3. 3.5 midfield is definitely his strongest area potentially. But I think he's going to be hit with the same curse that Jack was, because I think holding Foden and Grealish is a bit of an issue because they often sub out for each other or don't start and then one will come off the bench. So I think there's going to be a lot, as you can see with Grealish, a lot of 1-pointers this season. But when they do play, they do seem to get a lot of points. So Foden got 9, so it does equal out. But Jack had issues with that last season, so I wonder if George the same. Kulusevski looks like a real player, so decent. Hwang, I would agency, and McAllister, I would agency. So 3.5 probably is quite generous actually, but Foden and Kulusevski are pretty good players. So I would have them both happily. 3.5 up top because he's got Jesus pretty much, and Skamaka and Armstrong. So I think they're both forwards who could end up starting for their clubs as well. So he's got Jesus, who looked quality, got loads of points, looks like he'll keep getting points. But he's also got 2 other strikers who have a bit of an upside. I think Skamaka could end up looking like he replaces Antonio, which worries me a little bit. And Adam Armstrong, he got points the other day. I don't know if that was assist or a goal, but I think he could end up coming back into the Saints team as a striker. So Will's comparing it to his team. I mean, Jimenez literally won't play because he's injured. At least George has players who will come on and play and could end up starting. So that's probably quite generous, quite a generous score. But 10, he's my friend. I called him boys 11-point game week on the cards because I could definitely see that team having an awful game week. I could see like Foden and Grealish coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Stuff. But so I think 11 points could happen.
Right. On to your brother, Jim. 3 stars defence.
Yeah, mainly because Lloris is solid, Walker's solid. Arsenal look pretty decent this season, so I've given him benefit of doubt with Gabriel. The other 3, so I think they're all like 3.5-star players potentially, but I think the other 3 are pretty poor. So maybe I could have given him a worse score, to be honest. But I think Azpilicueta will be pushed out of the team. Matt Target will play every game when he's fit, but he's not fit right now. And Dallo, I would not want in my team or even close to it. So 3 stars quite nice, but I think Walker looks like he'll keep his place. Lloris looks pretty good. Well, he is good. We know he's good. And Gabriel's decent. So it's average.
Yeah.
His midfield's definitely the best part of his team, so I've gone 4-star. The reason it's not higher is I wouldn't say there's necessarily, although Saka is good, there's not necessarily a cheap player in there. Like, there's not a Salah or a Son or a De Bruyne. So that would bring it up. But all of his players are forward players who should be getting quite a lot of points, between them. So Zaha, he can blow hot and cold, but he's good. Jack Harrison had an off season, but can be good. Saka, if I don't know if he's playing more defensively or not this season, because I know they've obviously invested it in the front line, but he's a very good player. And Demarai Gray and Neto, they're not as good, but they both play on the wing and up front for their team, so can't really argue too much with that. Strike Force, everyone's commenting on this. What have I given it? I don't remember.
4 stars.
4-star.
For a total 11 out of 15.
So Haaland is class. Mitrovic is very erratic, hence he got a -1 last week, and he's not even been sent off yet. And Mbeumo he's decent, but he has real trouble finishing, I think, because I think last season he didn't get many goals, but he was taking loads of shots, and he's got a really good record in the Championship, but he doesn't get the goals that Tony does. So 4-star because he's got quality in Haaland, but unlike someone like Will, he's actually got 2 other strikers who he can look to, whereas Will doesn't. So that's what. So.
All right, and Adam now. I don't know why his total's come up, so that's spoiled the total. Sorry, Adam, but 3.5.
Sorry, Adam. You have to fill this in as you go.
Yeah.
I've gone 2.5-star on the defence. He's got, I think his keeper situation is similar to mine. He's got 2 okay keepers. Neither of them are like amazing, but 2 okay keepers. Trent and James are class. You know, I think they're really good defenders. That'll be high. That brings it up. But as you can see, he's also got some not so great defenders. I'm not sure Mings will be getting a big return this season. Emerson Royale probably will be out of the team again, or you just can't be sure at Spurs. Saliba, yeah, he's all right. Say 3.5-star because James and Trent bring it up, and he's got some other average players.
Yeah. Why? I'll ask you. I know Adam's listening, but why has one of the 2 main Villa fans in our group who said during the draft not to get Mings now got Mings? What's happened there?
It's a good question. I mean, Villa were holding on to a clean sheet until the 80th minute, and they almost then conceded 2 last week. So that is why I don't hold Villa defenders. There's just no promise of a clean sheet, even when they're heading in with a clean sheet for the last 10 minutes. And the issue with Mings was for him was he was taken. The captaincy was taken away. Captaincy was taken away, so people thought he might be dropped for Diego Carlos, which he was in the first week.
Yeah.
Diego Carlos is out, so we're back to Mings and Konsa again. So he'll definitely be playing for us this season.
I guess that's it. He's going to play, isn't it?
Unless we get a new centre back, but I just think Villa can't be trusted to keep clean sheets. So 3.5 adds because you've got 2 really good ones, a couple of average, and a couple of not so good. I would put Mings and Emerson in the not so good. 3-star midfield. He's got a couple of really good players there. Martinelli, well, mainly Martinelli. Rodrigo. He's an interesting one, especially if Bamford. I think Rodrigo's a top scoring player at this point, so you can't argue too much of it. But I think if Bamford's injured as well, Rodrigo will end up playing up top. So that could be a smart pickup. Leon Bailey, I don't know with Villa because Gerrard seems to be in 2 minds about what formation he wants to play and does he fit in if he's playing Ings and Watkins. Sancho is very hot and cold. And Dewsbury Hall, he actually looked pretty good towards last season, but I wouldn't be asking him to get loads of points in. So 3-star because he's got, I would say it's pretty average. And there's a bit of upside with Sancho and Bailey. But Martinelli is baller. Forward line.
2.5.
Do the maths there.
Yeah.
2.5. Because I don't really count Archer as a striker, to be honest, because he's not going to get much game time if he does it be off the bench. Though I do appreciate him. I appreciate Adam bringing in Archer as like repping the young Villa players, but that's more or less not having a player. Watkins, as you can see this week, can be really good, but otherwise can also not be very good, and he can have barren spells. Awani didn't start the first game, started the last game, got a screamer. So, he could be upside, but I don't know how many Nottingham Forest score. I don't really watch enough of them to know if they're a high-scoring team, but I've gone 2.5 because he's only got 2 strikers, and they're both unreliable necessarily. They're not like your Kanes or your Haalands or your Tonys.
Yeah, I mean, Forest looks by far the better team the other day. So it's interesting to see how their players will perform throughout the whole season, I guess. So
yeah,
be interesting.
Absolutely.
Right then, final team. We've got Tom, Team Rutrow.
Yeah, Team Rutrow. Let's have a look at it.
4 stars for defence.
4 stars from defence because he's got Van Dijk and Diaz. So even though they're not fullback, I think they obviously both will start the majority, if not all the games for their respective clubs if they're fit, and they'll get plenty of clean sheets. I was also swayed by the fact Hendo smashed it.
Yeah.
In his last game.
Yeah.
I couldn't really argue that. Similarly, Shah is like one of the top scoring defenders as well, which embarrassed a lot of us. And Ryan Sessegnon, he's a lot of upside on him because I don't know if he's a guaranteed starter, but if he does, he looked really good. I think when he came in last winter for Conte and then got injured again. But 4 star because he's got some decent players there. thinking about it, I gave ads 3.5, which seems very harsh if I've given this a 4. So I probably should have given ads a 4 if I didn't give ads a 4 on his defense. I think I did it reverse order. So this was the first team that I did.
Right.
3.5 in midfield, because he's got De Bruyne more or less, and the others will pitch in. I think like Lingard, if he can bring back any of the form he had at West Ham, looks good. Pedence plays up forward and usually starts. Jorginho takes pens and he usually gets, over a season like 125, 130 points, but mainly because he's got De Bruyne, one of those cheap players, and the rest are all okay. Andreas, I would agency, but Lingard, Pedence, Jorginho is an interesting mix and doesn't bring down De Bruyne too much. He's not got any like silly midfielders in there.
So we've had Adam saying 1.5 star for the Strike Force. Can you remember what it is before I bring it up?
I can.
You can. Okay. We've got any other guesses? Any other guesses in the? We've got a 1 star from Lawrence.
Generous from Lawrence, I would say.
What have we got? So we've got Welbeck, Solanke, and Martial. Is it Martial? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
1 star. Tom's saying 4.5. Of course, you are. Ooh. I reckon you've gone for 2. Lawrence has said 2 is fair. Richard said 0.5. Let's put it up. Oh! Rich has got it, 0.5 star. I like it.
Rich was on the
yeah.
It's shocking. I didn't even see any positives really there. I mean, it's just bad all round. He keeps trying to say Martial is good. I don't even think if he's fit he plays necessarily. Solanke, last time he was in the Prem he couldn't get it in the net. And Welbeck is not, he's kind of like, it's like the Will argument, except there's no good striker. Like, if you had Kane, Martial and Solanke, I'd be like, okay, fair enough, at least you got Kane. He's relying on Welbeck, which I wouldn't want to be in a position to rely on. I think it's very difficult position. Kind of made me wonder if he was asleep when he was drafting strikers in the draft, because whilst I think I went too early with the strikers, I would be pretty worried if I was in this position, because no one really wants these off you.
Yeah.
And there's none in the age.
Yeah, you're struggling now.
I could really see him relying on Welbeck for the entire season. And even if Solanke gets fit and starts playing again, I don't think he'll be scoring loads. Martial is a total unknown in terms of if he can actually get back in the team. He hasn't played in the Prem for like a year and a half, so 0.5 star. So I think the highest one was...
I think the highest was Jim, I think, on 11. Let's just go out with this.
Yeah, it was.
Jim on 11. George was a 10.
Which I think is right, because James usually drafts well and then trades all his players away. So that's consistent for James, where he's drafted pretty well, got some decent players, and then it's probably going to trade them all out again.
Yeah.
Hopefully trade them to me.
Oh, interesting.
If you go back to Adam,
where's Adam?
Piglets. I think he's
there we go.
He's third, maybe further down, or second in the league. I know, yeah, I probably should have given him 4 star for defense. I was probably swayed by the fact Sleeper had -1 and Mings was there. So he could have been a bit higher. But I think also I was generous on the midfield, so it probably evens out.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah. So top 3 manager prediction.
Top 3.
I'm going to be optimistic. I would love it to happen and say Rich in the top 3. He needs to do a bit of trading, but I think Salah is a great foundation to start from, as is if Ronaldo stays. Although he might not, so it's a big if right now. Ask me in 2 weeks and I'll be able to tell you a bit better. I'll say Adam, because I'd like Adam to also be up there. And he's got a pretty good foundation as well. And third, I will say me, because I'd like to continue my form towards the top. And I think I've got an okay team. My midfield is pretty weak, but the agency has been my friend. Last season, I think agency is what won me the league, because I brought in players like Bruno Guimaraes and he got like 20 points in a game week. And there's others where I just been really late and they got points. So it is a gamble, but even though I've got weak players, I think I'm hopeful that I can use agency to do better. So yes, I'll say Rich, Adam and me, which would be pretty funny if it's top 3.
In any order. I won't let you.
In any order.
Yeah.
Although it would be hilarious if Rich won the league.
It would be good though, to be fair.
Outside of Salah, but you never know.
We'd all love it. I think we'd all love it if Rich won.
That's James' question in the chat. You've got the best team now, but you've got such a form for giving all your best players away at ridiculous times. So I don't think you'll have the best team coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom, he's pretty good at like getting towards the top of the league and then obviously not winning the league. So that's why I've not put him top 3 at the end. I think he was lucky to get top 3 last time. I think Adam almost caught him up. So, and he might have peaked too early again this season.
We'll see, won't we? Only 2 weeks in. I think. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to say. I'll say George, Adam, and I'll say Rich as well. We'll go with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think George loves finishing mid-table, so I could see that happening again.
But we'll be happily proven wrong.
Yes, exactly. Nice. And then Lawrence says, where do you think Jack ends up? He had a total off season last season, and this season hasn't filled me with confidence that he's back with a vengeance. Because he kept saying revenge tour, and then he finished in the bottom 3 last season, I think. So we'll see if this is a revenge tour.
Yeah. Right. Before we finish, we did something last week which I thought was quite fun, which was doing a trade from me to anybody in the league, but driven by people in the chat and maybe yourself as well.
Yeah, I'll give you Veltman for Matip. Let's do it.
Not from your own team. I'm going to say you can't do from your own team, just to make it a little bit fair. Where do you want to start? I feel like my defenders is a clear one to get rid of.
Who do they give good defence? I think Tom and Adam had good defence ratings, so they might be somewhere you could fish.
Yeah, let's bring up the thing again. Who's got 4? You've given yourself a 4. Adam, you're saying you were given us a 4.
Yeah, the other way to think about it is Will and Jack will have really good agency choices, although there's not great defenders. There's some really good ones. Offer them Diego Carlos because it'll be no loss to them, and see if they've got someone you can bring in. So that's the way I'd think about it. Either go for someone who's got a good defence, try and equal it out, or offer Will and Jack a really bad.
I feel like Adam is probably the most likely one to get a trade going. So
yeah, he does like a trade.
He does like a trade.
The only issue is, I think he'd be reluctant to let go of either James or Trent. Saliba, I think, could be an A1. If he plays all season, Arsenal look interesting, and you can see the next 3 games are pretty good. So I think you would have to. Depends if you want to get rid of, if you're willing to lose Laporte or Matip.
Yeah, Matip 31st, Laporte back 3rd.
Laporte and one of your goalkeepers for Saliba, and one of his goalkeepers, probably Ward. He might go for that.
I'm not sure I want a Leicester keeper.
Be willing to take Martinez. I think both your keepers are decent options, and I think he would be interested maybe in getting a better one than Ward. The other option is, who's he got up? Oh yeah, I'm not sure if he's got any strikers he'd be willing to give you. I think Matip for Saliba 1-for-1 he'd probably do, but I think that'd be a risk because if Matip comes back pretty soon, he'll be really good.
Yeah, yes, that's the thing. Really, I should keep Matip and Laporte. I should keep them, but I can't.
The other option is you offer him a decent striker for Archer and try and get Trent or James off him. Because you could do that. Like Archer won't get points like many this season. That Jota for Archer. Oh, I don't know.
No, it's tough, isn't it? Yeah.
Trent
he's gone suspiciously quiet in the chat all of a sudden.
He has,
perfect timing for that, isn't it? Oh, he's intrigued from the conversation. Yeah.
Or you could do Rodri for Sancho. I'd say Rodri for Sancho 1-for-1's pretty fair trade because Sancho's so hit and miss, and Rodri actual play every game probably, and he actually started scoring at the end of last season.
Jim's saying Saliba, Matip's fair trade.
It's a risk on you, that one.
I know. Can I wait? I mean, how many weeks is it? How many game weeks is that going to be?
I think it's going to be 2 weeks, but Matip does have form for being injured for quite a while. Like, he's got recurring injuries.
Yeah. Oh, Lawrence has sent a trade through. Interesting. This is what happens. You say I do a trade, and then people are like, "Oh, I want to take your best player off you," and I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that." Sorry, Lawrence, that's a decline straight away. Yeah.
The other one is Will. Will's definitely going to dip into agency. He has to.
Where's Will?
You got to make
Got to go a long way down. Was Edison his highest player then?
It'll do well to find a player from Will. There you go. There's one. I don't know if you'd be tempted to get rid of Edison or lose Edison. If you gave him Martinez for Edison and Matip for Maguire, that would be interesting.
I don't want Maguire. I don't want.
But he does Martinez probably. So
no.
Or you give him Diego Carlos for one of his players and try and upgrade. But yeah, I don't know. Diego Carlos, his defense isn't that great. For White or Dina, and then try and give him a better option somewhere else.
Yeah.
Diego, Carlos, and Benrahma for White and Bruno. A bit meh.
I don't know. He's gone quiet as well now. Has he gone? He might have gone actually. He hasn't messaged for a while. Yeah. It's difficult.
Or you can actually try and improve his strike force and try and get something else elsewhere.
See, Jim, I know like Laporte's injured, but come on. That's decline that as well.
Not the worst, I would say. But
a minute ago you were saying he's probably going to get kicked out of the team. Why would I want him if he's going to not play?
But Laporte is injured.
Yeah, but for like 2 weeks, and he's back, so and he'll play more than likely. Tom's saying he sent a trade. Let's have a look. What are your thoughts on that one?
That is shocking. Although it's not as bad as the other ones that have been sent, I would say. Welbeck does seem to be starting for Brighton, although I did give him half a star. And Castagna seems to be playing left wing back, or even just left wing. Like in his debut season, Castagna was quite good.
But, here we go.
But Matip and Diego Jota could end up starting that every game for Liverpool when they're fit.
Yeah.
And you would really, oh my days.
Probably not. Tom's, I don't think I would accept.
No,
so
I don't think I would either.
Oh, Max. Is Max watching? He's not talking. Unless that's just random. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? He's got to be listening. That's hilarious.
That is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because Dyer play every game for Spurs, so I probably would take that. But it's up to you. Because Laporte will come back. But I think Dyer will play every game for Spurs, and Spurs, an acceptable.
Jim's like, accept. There's a lot of accepts. Yeah. Why not?
I would definitely be tempted.
It's done. I've accepted that one. So we're left with Adams.
You could accept Adams as well, couldn't you? I don't know. I think Sancho and Awani are a big gamble.
Yeah.
How they'll take the season. You know how Bamford will do when he's fit. Rodri's very average. I wouldn't.
I feel like
that, and then it's.
Now the port's gone, and I know I'm getting rid of Diego Carlos.
Yeah.
I feel like I can live with keeping Matip.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take that one. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
We got
Fun
a trade
times.
in.
Yeah. So is that your first live trade?
Yeah, I think so. Because last week I just offered a trade, it didn't get accepted. So
There you go.
yeah.
Happy days. Just try this every time.
Yeah.
People send you, or whoever you're being interviewed could be.
Yeah, I mean, it could be for me or it could be the guest as well. Yeah, we can do it either way. It's just obviously it's easier for me to share my screen with everyone and show the trades that are coming through. It's a bit more difficult for the guest, but we might be able to make something work. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been a good.
Like the random arbitrary rankings.
Yeah, I think it definitely got some conversation going, which is good. That's what we want to. That's what we like. But yeah. Maybe you can do it again later in the season or towards the end of the season with people of totally different teams by then as well.
100%. Well, I know some people like Rich and Will and James will probably mix up their teams. So.
Yeah. I mean, we could even do it live, like, because everyone's here and they're all giving suggestions, we could even, as a collective. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I like that idea.
All right. Well, thanks again, Tolly. It's been another good episode, I think, and thanks for listening, everybody, if you've joined us today. And yeah, we'll see. Thanks, yeah, thanks, Tolly. And as always, oh wait, I've forgotten it.
Get your script.
I'm gonna have to quickly grab a script. This is terrible. Oh dear.
You can edit that usually.
I can't. There it says, as always, this is the DraftCast, and remember, draft is life. See you next time.